the battle of new versus old. New versus new, either way. What's up guys, BrunsNick's back. We're gonna talk about the new Rattler new versus the Hammer new blue. So, two bowling balls with the same cover stock, completely different cores. We're gonna see the difference of them on the lanes. Now, I can't wait to see what happens with SPECTO running, of course, but before we get to that, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, let's see new versus new. All right, so kind of a comparison, kind of curiosity really, if you will. So, new blue hammer caught the world by storm last year. It was a not urethane ball that was meant to kind of skirt around the rules of the 78 hardness. So this ball comes in around 75, 76 hardness, but it absorbs oil in a manner that is so slow it is still deemed reactive by definition of the rules that the PBA put out. Cool. Anyway, so this ball come out and there was never a follow-up in any of the lines until the Rattler new came out. So that's what we're going to put it up against. So this is a thick shell bowling ball, high RG, lower diff, 027. I believe the RG is somewhere around 256, 257, somewhere in there. And the Rattler new is a lower RG with a little bit higher diff. Not high diff by any means, but 035 versus 027 should get a little bit more flare. Let's see what the differences between these two bowling balls are and see if we can't see a difference. I thought I saw a difference personally just throwing the Rattler new, but let's see what SPECTO says. So we'll look at some of the data along the way, throw a couple shots. I haven't thrown this ball in a while, but we'll talk about it. And that is pretty much what we always saw from the new blue hammer. It is a ball that is like urethane, that rolls similar to urethane, but maybe just has a little bit more pop than say like a purple hammer or even a black hammer. So what happens when we take away that thick shell and get into something a little bit more lower RG and a little bit more flare? Will you get a little bit more reaction out of it or not? I say yes. I see this ball being a little bit earlier and a little bit stronger overall. Let's throw the same shot, or at least let's try. We'll see how sharp I am over the summer. All right, so just on the eye test, it looked like the new was a little smoother earlier, less back end, compared to the new blue. Makes sense, you get that lower RG, you start it up a little bit sooner, it's not gonna be as dramatic on the back end. Not that these balls were created for back end, but you know what I mean, we're comparing apples to apples here. Let's throw another shot. I'm actually probably gonna move it about a couple boards right, just to square it up even more. There we go, that's exactly what we want to see. We want to see that ball check up right around the 35-foot mark, start up its hook motion, and get into a roll. We don't want that ball to go behind the head pin because we may not carry. We want that ball to start up like urethane would. You want to play this ball like urethane should. So one thing I talked about in the video when I reviewed the Rattler new was the track flare. So my flare starts right in here and it ends right over here. So I'm getting about 5 inches of track flare as compared to the new blue, which I don't get a lot of flare at all. So flare here starts here and it goes to about here. So about 3 to 4 inches, 3.5, somewhere in there. So pretty noticeable difference, and what that does is just creates a little bit more length. But with the RG higher, diff a little bit lower, you're gonna get a little more length, a little more pop. We'll throw that same shot. Let's see what happens there. Probably missed out a little bit further right, but we're already seeing kind of what you're gonna get from these two. Where that ball is going to get down the lane a little bit easier and it's going to finish a lot stronger. Now the question is, you know, the pros had this ball in their arsenal. Why didn't we see many of them on tour? Well, the Black Hammer 78 came out, which is a traditional urethane that meets the specs of the PBA hardness rule of 78. And the pros that are really good with urethane opted to throw that ball more often. You saw it on TV, you saw it during qualifying, didn't see a whole lot of new blue. Believe me, if they would have thought the new blue was the better option, they would use it. Remember, these guys bowl for their livelihood, and they're going to use the best that they can use to strike the most. So, new blue might still see play sometime, but when it came down to it, even with all the surface and different layouts, and believe me, they tried them all, traditional urethane, the 78 was still very, very, very good. Now, you're asking probably about surface. Now, both bowling balls have been used in competition and reviews, so they've gotten a little lane shine. So I hit it with a flat 2000 grit by hand before filming this video, just to get them close. We're not trying to get them to the number grit. We're just trying to see the tendencies of each ball. This isn't a science project, this is more of a curiosity. So let's move it right a little bit more. I'm gonna stand on 10. Let's square this ball up and see what the ball looks like playing a little bit straighter. Oh. Through the face. Now, is it because the ball had more back end that the ball did not hold pocket at the end? We'll try throwing the Rattler new right on top of that and see if the ball holds pocket better because it's less responsive on the back end. Just oozing with anticipation. Let's see what happens. Pretty much the same. So that's a little bit too straight for these two bowling balls. So playing them straighter, more direct, I don't think you're going to see any difference in hold when you kind of square it up and like that. You're not going to get that kind of urethane back off. The ball still hooks a little bit on the back end. Either ball, so they're about the same playing straight. So what happens if we move in and open our angles up just a little bit more? What if we move in and see what happens? Will the ball read better? Will the new blue hammer recover better? We're going to find out. So I'm going to move 10 left. I'll be at 20. I don't want to play too much of a swing because this ball is really not designed for that. So I'll slow the speed down and give it a little angle here. Okay. I think that's a good baseline right there. I didn't expect to get it back through the pins, but the ball tried. Had some good pin action there, but it ultimately left the 10 pin. So we're going to see if the higher RG and a little bit lower diff from the new blue will get it to recover better and get through the pins. Let's wrap this video up. Yeah, I believe that one had a little bit more. Let's check the SPECTO numbers and see. Yeah, I don't think I could have thrown those more direct on line unless my name was Throwbot. So I think we saw a general idea of what these two bowling balls do. If you want just a little bit more recovery, a little more length, a little more back end, then you go new blue. If you want something that's going to be smoother, stronger, more rolly, maybe even more like a urethane ball. Now that I've done a test between these two, I can see that the Rattler new is smooth like urethane. So which one is better? So I would say that if you're looking to play them straighter like urethane and your ball speed is pretty darn good or your speed dominant, I would go Rattler new, take advantage of that stronger core, get that ball into an earlier motion, smoother, playing from straighter. Now if you're a little bit slower speed and you have trouble with drier lanes, I would go new blue hammer. That way you can stand a little bit further left or in, sorry lefties, move in, throw it out, and get that ball to recover a little harder on the back end. So the choice is yours. We got a couple different options, hammer, radical. What choice are you gonna go? Let me know in the comments. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out the merch on Inside Bowling, links in the description. See you guys on another video. Please subscribe.